Well, welcome to the 700 Club. For today's top stories, let's go over to the CBN newsroom.
Gordon, the situation on the Korean peninsula continues to become more dangerous. North Korea has tested a massive hydrogen bomb, and now South Korea has a warning the North could be about to test still another missile. Dale Hurd has the story.
South Korea believes North Korea may be preparing to launch an intercontinental ballistic missile. This after Seoul's defense ministry reported North Korea's nuclear test measured at 50 kilotons. That's 4 to 5 times more powerful than the atomic bomb the U.S. dropped on Nagasaki in World War II. So powerful it triggered an earthquake felt from Russia to China. The detonation was the strongest ever from the North, which claimed the test was of a hydrogen bomb. South Korea responded with live fire drills off its eastern coast.
Mr. President, will you attack North Korea?
Defense Secretary James Mattis repeated earlier warnings that the U.S. is prepared to use overwhelming force against the North.
Any threat to the United States or its territories, including Guam, or our allies, will be met with a massive military response, a response both effective and overwhelming.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz joined the voices saying North Korea must be stopped.
This step, if it is right that they have now developed a hydrogen bomb, is a serious escalation in their ability to commit mass acts of murder. And it is going to call for further serious steps to prevent North Korea from using those weapons.
Sanctions and other measures have been tried for decades but haven't stopped the North. And President Trump chided U.S. ally South Korea, tweeting, "South Korea is finding, as I have told them, that their talk of appeasement with North Korea will not work. They only understand one thing." North Korea analyst James Cotton believes that despite its actions, the North does not want war.
I don't think that North Korea is exactly ready to deploy this weapon yet. North Korea knows that any sort of conflict would result in its destruction. And the U.S. and its allies know that any conflict would be very costly for them as well. So it's likely that we'll kind of remain in this status quo sort of standoff.
President Trump is also ramping up the pressure on North Korea's major trading partner, China. Trump said on Twitter Sunday, the United States is considering, in addition to other options, stopping all trade with any country doing business with North Korea.
We are going to work with our allies. We'll work with China, but people need to cut off North Korea economically. This is unacceptable behavior.
China says the threat to cut off trade with countries that deal with North Korea is, quote, unacceptable and unfair. The UN Security Council is set to hold an emergency meeting on North Korea after its nuclear test added another layer of urgency for diplomats wrestling with what to do next. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Here at home, churches across the country prayed for the victims of Hurricane Harvey on Sunday. President Trump issued a proclamation declaring it a national day of prayer. Texas Governor Greg Abbott also called for a day of prayer in his state. On Sunday, he told worshipers that this is not only a time to seek God's help, but to give thanks for his mercies.
So this is a time of prayer for those in need. It's a time for prayer for those who have been lost, but it's also a prayer of thanksgiving to God Almighty for uniting us as a nation and helping us respond together.
Houston pastor Jason Shepard says more than 1,200 people from his church volunteered to help victims clean out their flood-damaged homes. People like Ariane and Sherry Fontenot, whose home was flooded with 2 feet of water. They told CBN News the volunteers are a sign of God's grace and love in a difficult time.
Going to the house was the hardest just because, the memories. But the people that showed up, they made it better. They helped us walk through it, and honestly, I didn't have to lift a finger in that house to do anything.
When I got there and just saw the generosity and the grace and God's love through the people, it was really an amazing thing.
It's awesome to hear. The church is also providing shelter and food for the victims. CBN's Operation Blessing disaster relief team has been on the ground in Texas, helping people clean up after the devastation of the flooding from Hurricane Harvey and delivering life-sustaining supplies to communities devastated by the storm. To give to Operation Blessing's Disaster Relief Fund, call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com. You can also send donations to Operation Blessing International, Disaster Relief Fund, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. Spiritual leaders gathered with President Trump in the Oval Office Friday when he issued the proclamation for the Day of Prayer for Texas. After signing it, he asked Dallas pastor Robert Jeffress to pray for him and the nation.
Father, your word says, if your people who are called by your name will humble themselves and pray and seek your face, you will forgive their sins and heal their land. Father, I thank you that we have a president, President Donald Trump, who believes in the power of prayer. We thank you for a vice president like Vice President Pence, who works alongside of him. And we thank you that the president had the wisdom to call our nation right now for a day of prayer this coming weekend.
And you can watch the full prayer at cbnnews.com.